All right, class, this is Mr. Cooper. We're diving into Module 2, Lesson 24. We're doing the problem set right now, so let's go ahead and get to it. So number 1 says, divide, show the division in the right-hand column in 2 steps. The first 2 have been done for you. So we see A shows us 12 or 1.2 divided by 6, and that gives us 0.2. Show the division in the right hand column. This is all of these on this side in 2 steps. So let's zoom in right here on what's happening right there. So this is the 2-step part. Right here is 1 step. And here is the 2nd step. And then that's our answer right there. That's our answer, 0.02. So how did we get this? Well, let's stay on this one. 0.2, well, the way that we split that up is this is not, this 60, we could think of it as a 6 times a 10. So we treated this as 1.2 divided by 6 divided by 10, right? Because that 60 is really a 6 and a 10 together, right? And then so I move that over, and then I have a 0.2 because this became 0.2 divided by 10. And then at this step, all we're doing is moving the decimal to the left 1 time, and that gives us our answer, 0.02. Let's do a couple more, and then I'll have the answers pop up for you real quick. So over here, we have 2.4 divided by 4, or another way to say that would be 2 4/10 divided by 4. Well, I can think about that as just, I could get rid of that decimal for a second and just do 24, or I can do a 2.4 right there, and I bring my decimal up. I could think of this as a 24 divided by 4. Well, I know that 6 times 4 equals 24, so I know that 24 divided by 4 is going to give me 6, right? And I got my 0 right here. So I have 0.6, or 0.6. Okay, so let's, over here, notice how it's pretty much this, it's a similar problem, but instead of 4, now it's 40. We're manipulating the base 10 system right here, and we're just adding a 0 to it. So let's break this apart, shall we? We have 2.4 divided by 40 would be the same as 2.4 divided by 4, right? Same as the one before, but then we're adding one more step, dividing by 10. And then so that would be equal to 0.6 divided by 10, right? So this whole part becomes 0.6, and then this gets carried over again. And that leaves us with 0.6 divided by 10. And once again, we have a division, which means I'm moving the decimal to the left, and then the 1 0 means I'm going to move it left 1 time. So that's going to give us 0.06, right? Put a little 0 there. 0.06. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and you can pause the video too. And let's just try E, F, G, H. Pause the video and see if you can do those, and I'll have the answers pop up in 3, 2, 1. So we have our answers right here. We're going to have 2.1. And notice how, since these are kind of the same, this was divided by 7. This is the same number, but instead it's divided by 70. Our answers are very similar, except the decimal has moved over 1 place to the left because we have that 0 right there. So it was a 2.1, but now it's a 0.25. 1. Now, they're not always going to be like that. Make sure you're paying attention, but notice that if it's 14.7 divided by 7, and it's 14.7 divided by 70, all I've done is add a 0 over here. Well, then I know that my answer is going to be moved over one time. And there's the same thing down here, 0.17, or 0 and 17 hundredths. And this one over here, it was divided by 20 instead of 2. And it gave us 0.17 hundredths. Okay, kiss your brain if you got those right. And let's go ahead and move on. So now we're looking at I, J, K, L. Go ahead and see if you can do those by yourself. Notice that this one down here, 2 zeros, that's my only hint. Go ahead and try to do these by yourself, and I'll have the answers pop up in 3, 2, 1. So here we have the answers right here for I. We got 0.05. And over here, it's the same answer, but the decimal moved over one more place. We got 0.005, or 5 thousandths. This is 1 and 15 hundredths, and it becomes, over here, it's divided by 300. So that decimal is going to move over and be 0. Oh, this also changed, by the way. So it was divided by 300, but this decimal moved over one spot too. Let's zoom in on that real quick. Notice how it's a 34.5, whereas over here, over here it was a 3.45 divided by 3. And over here it's 0. So that's why you have to pay attention. It's not always going to be just move the decimal over. You got to always be paying attention. The digits are similar, but that's how we wound up with 0 and 115 thousandths. Kiss your brain if you got it right, and let's go ahead and move on. Number 2 says, use place value reasoning and the first quotient to compute the second quotient. Explain your thinking. So this is basically what we were just doing, except they've written it a different way and it's set up, and it wants us to explain our thinking. So we're probably going to have to use some words to do that. So let's zoom in a little bit more. We have 46.5, or 46 and 5 tenths, divided by 5 equals 9.3. And then so let's look at what's the same right here. This has 46.5, 46.5, and then that's a 5, that's a 5. The only thing that's changed is there's a 0 right there. So I know I could start off with the same digits, 9, 3, right? I have a 0.3 in between. I have a decimal right here, but we're going to move over real quick. We're going to move over. It's dividing, so we're moving to the left, and we got 1 0, so we're going to move left one time. So I'm going to go decimal right there. 0.93. And I could give something like, instead of 5 groups, there are 50 groups. That's 10 times more groups. So there must be 10 times less in each group. Right, so here our answer ended up being 0.93. And then we give a written answer, right? It was 5 groups, and then it became 50 groups. It's 10 times more, and it must be 10 times less. Where did we get the less? Well, it's dividing. It's making it smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another one. So this one says 0 and 51 hundredths divided by 3 equals 17 hundredths. And so let's look at what's the same. 0.51, 0.51, that's the same. A 3 and a 3, but these are different in that there's a 0. So 30 is 10 times more than 3. It's dividing. So I know my decimal's moving to the left. So I know that my answer is going to be basically the same thing, but the decimal is going to be moved over one spot. So before it was between right here, the 0 and 1. Now it's moving to the left, and it's going to be right here to the left of that 0. And we can put another little 0 there. And then our explanation is going to be something like, there are 10 times as many groups, so there must be 10 times less in each group. All right, so at this time you're going to do C and D by yourself, and I'll have the answers pop up in 3, 2, 1. So here are my answers. I got 4.2, 3.4. These are the explanation. There are 10 times fewer groups, so there has to be 10 times more in each group. So how do we get more? Well, we're still dividing, but we're dividing this second time, we're dividing by less, right? We're dividing by less than 70. So our number is going to be bigger. And the same thing happened down here, 3.4. So there are 10 times fewer groups, so each group must have 10 times more. So if you got that, kiss your brain. If you're still struggling with that, go ahead and pause the video and come talk to Mr. Cooper. Here we are on number 3. 20 polar bears live at the zoo. In 4 weeks, they eat 9,732 and 8/10 pounds of food altogether. Assuming each bear is fed the same amount of food, how much food is used to feed one bear for a week? Round your answer to the nearest pound. I'm going to highlight that because I already know some of you are probably going to forget to do that part. So round your answer to the nearest pound. So you're going to solve it, and then you're going to round your final answer to the nearest pound, and then make sure you know that there's words in the problem, so you know there better be words in your answer down here. I'm going to pause this video. You can too, and I'll have the answers pop up in 3, 2, 1. So here we have the answer. About 122 pounds of food is fed to one polar bear for 1 week. Kiss your brain if you got that. If you didn't get it, pause the video and check all the work and see where you went wrong. See where you went wrong, okay? And then if you still don't understand where you what happened or why you got it wrong, pause the video and come and talk to Mr. Cooper. In the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Number 4 says the total weight of 30 bags of flour and 4 bags of sugar is 42.6 kilograms. If each bag of sugar weighs 0 and 75 hundredths kilograms, what is the weight of each bag of flour? Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and I'll have the answers pop up in 3, 2, 1. So here we got the answer. Each bag of flour weighs 1 and 32 hundredths kilograms. If you didn't get that right, pause the video and look at your work and see where you went wrong. And then if you don't understand how you got wrong, then you can come and talk to Mr. Cooper. Okay, but you need to check it first. Okay? Kiss your brain if you got it. Right? You did a great job. At this time, if you have any questions about what we went over, you need to come and talk to Mr. Cooper now before you do the exit ticket. Okay? Once you are done and you're feeling good, you can move on to the exit ticket. Make sure that you are bringing the exit ticket up somewhere and doing it where I can see you doing it. And have a great time. I'll catch you later.